Yes, sir. I can't hear you though. Can you turn me up just a little bit? Got it. Thank you.
It's time for the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan, one of the top real estate agents not only on the Grand Strand, but in the world. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, the Wall Street Journal, NBC, and many other publications. And now, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. We'll be talking with Blake Sloan coming up in mere seconds. In the meantime, let me give you some ways for you to get in touch with Blake Sloan. It's easy. Give him a call at his office at Sloan Realty Group. You can call 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD, or you can go online to blakesloan.com, blakesloan.com. We'll repeat that information a lot over the next 30 minutes. In case you missed it this time, don't miss it next time because you don't want to miss out. In the meantime, let's find out what's going on in the world of real estate. Here's Blake Sloan.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Awesome show. Tons of great information. The market is still crazy. All kind of crazy things happening all day, all night. And our team's here crushing it, pushing forward. So anything you need, real estate related, always you can call us day, nighttime, doesn't matter. We're here hustling. So today's show, tons of great stuff, brand new market numbers for anyone. Missed last week's show. They're very interesting to say the least. There's some huge ups, a couple things decline, which is interesting. We'll talk about 3 main points. We saw some declines last month, and we'll kind of talk about why that is and what's going on with there. We're still in an inventory crisis, which is a big deal in that aspect. Yesterday, we were talking to my team about only 387 homes, single-family homes available in all of Horry County, which is crazy to think about based on how many people are here and how many people live here. And we'll talk about that as well. We'll talk about one thing that's a big issue I'm seeing, the 4 main problems and pains that are facing people who want to sell their house. It really comes down to agents and what they do and what's happening. Really talk about what that is as well. We'll talk about a massive problem that one of the industry leaders in real estate talked about this week, kind of opened up a can of worms. But he talked about how now there's over 1.5 million realtors in the United States, which is huge, the highest number in history. But the problem with that came along with that, this is a quote from him, the most unskilled workforce of realtors in history of realtors. And that means just everyone has gotten the business. And he was talking about, it's a big real estate trainer. So the National Association of Realtors reached out to him to help put together some training so he could help these people. But that's dangerous, right? Looking at these numbers and what we're talking about is that it's costing homeowners billions of dollars across the country because people aren't really in tune with what's happening with the market, AKA leaving money on the table, which we're seeing happen a lot. So we'll talk about that today and kind of how we're seeing that. It's one thing I'm seeing. I saw at least 6 times in the last week where agents just did not give their client the right strategy and they didn't execute the right way, and it cost them money. We were representing buyers on the buy side. We sent over offers. They accepted instantly based on the strategy. And I'll talk about why that is, but right now the market's so hot, the average agent only sells 4 homes a year. They're not really in tune with what's happening, and they're not helping guide in the right way. We'll talk about that as well. We'll talk about a new term everyone's been talking about too. It's a super seller's market and kind of what that means overall. Also, we have some amazing success stories. Our team's been absolutely crushing it. In one case, getting somebody $30,000 more than they thought they could, which is super awesome. And some great news on the interest rate front. We'll talk about that and just some overall really cool stuff for everyone out there as well.
All right, a lot of stuff to get to. We are just getting started right now. If you're just tuning in for the very first time and you're not familiar with Blake, you don't know who he is, well, he's been called the real estate whiz-kid. Been featured in Forbes magazine, Wall Street Journal, Realtor magazine, and other national publications. Maybe you've seen him on TV with NBC or with Fox and Friends on the Morning Show. You've also heard the personal endorsements here on this very radio station from Sean Hannity, from Glenn Beck, from Barbara Corcoran, Gary LaVox, and others. Put them all together, it's just obviously unprecedented. Now, every week we learn just a little bit more about the trademark systems that Blake has for both home sellers and home buyers. Now, they are trademarks, so he can't really go into all the details on the air here, but he's very much more than happy to tell you the biggest part of that system.
Yes, and I think, now more than ever, this has become my calling, really my purpose, and really the purpose behind this show. We do this show for one real reason, is just to provide value to you all, to help you make better decisions when it comes to real estate. For most people, their largest assets. And so it's super important. And right now, more than ever, this is so true, where I talk about this for years. I made a promise to myself that we'd talk about this every show, because what would happen, people would call us who even listen to the show, who maybe called someone else and had a horror story, lost a lot of money, or their house sat in the market, or whatever it was. And it came down to this huge mistake everyone makes. They make the mistake of thinking that all real estate agents are the same, and it could not be further from the truth, right? Just like any doctor, any lawyer, if you're charged with a crime you did not commit, you don't want some random lawyer who only practices part-time, right? You want the absolute best who specialize in that type of law, who can represent you the best way. Why would you ever, ever, ever allow yourself to have anything less when you're dealing with your largest asset? And so here's the facts. The single most important variable that determines your failure or success as a home seller comes down to one thing only. That thing is the agent you choose, period. That's it. Not your wall colors, not the time of the year, right? It has to do with the agent because it comes down to execution. So when you're selling a house, there's 118 different variables from A to Z. If each one's handled correctly, guess what that does? Puts money in your pocket, property gets sold. Anything's handled incorrectly, AKA they drop the ball at any point, that costs you your hard-earned equity. We're seeing this happen more than ever. Now, anybody can sell a house, right? My dog could sell a house. But ultimately, what's happening is people are leaving money on the table. So there's a difference between selling it and selling it for top dollar. And so this could be anything right now, from the quality of the photos, right? Is your property, what's it look like online? Right now, the order of the photos. I was just showing someone who had $1 million listing appointment, and I showed them a nearby house that was a random agent. The first 8 photos were all exterior photos. Now, if I'm a buyer and I'm looking for houses online, guess what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to look through 8 photos to try to get to the inside, which is what I really care about. And so most agents don't understand the buyer psychology and how people search. And so pictures 2, 3, and 4 have to sell them on looking at the rest of the photos to be able to go through all of them to do one thing, which is click the button to see more, to go look at your house. And so all these variables matter, but really simple ones are the ones I see drop the most. Does your agent answer the telephone? Do they actually call back a web lead that inquired on your house online at 10 o'clock at night? All these things happen. And so what happens is once one of those is dropped, that costs you your hard-earned equity. One of the biggest things we're seeing right now in regards to one of these variables is the strategy of how it's listed and also what they're doing once it happens. And so we all know it's a hot market. What's happening is what we've been doing for especially any inexperienced agents. Anytime there's a new listing, if our buyer wants it, we just send immediately a full price cash offer. And what we're seeing is they'll just accept it right off the bat. And so if you do it right, we have a certain strategy we created. We list on a certain day of the week at a certain time. We run 2 open houses if they want to drive more traffic, a lot of people to get in there. And what happens is you at least give a little bit of time over the weekend for people to get in. And what happens is it creates multiple offers, drives the price up. You put extra $30,000, $40,000 in the pocket of the home seller. A lot of agents, they're just selling 4 houses a year, not really understanding what's going on, not really into the data. They just list it, take the first offer, and they end up costing that client a lot of money. And so what I did is we identified all those variables. We create a system that's proven repeatable, that creates maximum leverage at every single point. It's called the guaranteed sold system. I designed, like Dave mentioned, it's trademarked. But what it is it creates maximum leverage, like stacking the dominoes. We create leverage at point 1, leverage at point 2, and you add those up over 118. What it does is it creates a massive competitive advantage for you as a client, right? It's the only proven system, selling twice as fast and for up to 20% more money than traditional methods, and it works very, very, very well. On the flip side, there's 100+ variables for buyers, especially right now. There's a lot of frustrated buyers out there because their agents aren't guiding them the way they need to. And so that's called the unfair advantage home buying system. Gives priority access to foreclosures, distress sales, desperate sellers, the absolute best negotiation and purchase price, as well as getting you through the home inspection to the closing table. But both those are so needed right now, where most agents, they're just doing the 3 Ps. 1, they promise you the listing, promise you the world to get the listing. Number 2, they put it into the MLS. And 3, they just pray that someone else brings a buyer. And what you end up happening is they basically just put it into the MLS, and that's it. Another agent from a different company has a buyer, they bring an offer, and that's really all that's done. There's no real marketing. And so that's just the cost of admission, right? That's just the average entry level. You got to do a lot more than that right now to drive up that buyer traffic. We'll talk about that here in a few minutes.
All right, sounds good. We're just getting started. Got a lot of stuff to get to, like Blake was alluding to just a second ago. But tell you what, if you'd like to get in touch with Blake, you can give them a call at the office, Sloan Realty Group. Give them a call at 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD, or you can go online to blakesloan.com, blakesloan.com. Coming up next, we'll find out what the real estate market is looking like here, and also we'll look to see what the interest rates are looking like at this very second. It's the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
Hey, if you were in the market to make the most money for your home, Sean Hannity here with some important advice. Now look, I'm an active investor. I have bought and sold a lot of properties in hot, cold, moderate markets. And one of the lessons I have learned is this: hire the agent that knows how to create the most demand for your home. Now, if I needed to create demand in this market, no question, there's only one real estate agent I trust if I needed to sell my home. I'm talking about Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. Now, he services the entire Myrtle Beach area, attracts hundreds of buyers every week, and sells a home on average every 24 hours. Now, that helps you generate multiple offers and sell your home for the most money possible. Plus, it's like getting an immediate offer on your home, because if your home doesn't sell for the price and the deadline you agree to, you will have it bought for cash, and he offers flexible fees. Find out how much demand your home can command right now. Call the agent that creates the most demand. Call Blake Sloan today at 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD. Or online at blakesloan.com. That's blakesloan.com.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corcoran. To sell your home on time for the most money, you need a sharp agent with a marketing strategy that creates the most demand. Bottom line, you need a partner willing to put their own money on the line for you. In Myrtle Beach, I would hire Blake Sloan. His international marketing creates so much demand that if your home doesn't sell at a price and deadline you agree to, Blake will buy it. Partner with an agent I trust. Go online or call and get your home sold.
That's right. Call Blake today. The phone number is 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD, S-O-L-D, or go online to blakesloan.com, blakesloan.com. Coming up in just 1 minute, we'll see what the interest rates are looking like. Let's see what the real estate market is looking like. And from what you were saying at the beginning of the show, still crazy.
Yes, insanity. Way more buyers than our sellers right now. With just so much money coming in from out of the area, specifically the Northeast, it's just flowing in hundreds of millions of dollars a week, literally. And so the one thing that's kind of the big news is there's just no inventory, right? And so that is affecting sales a little bit. I'll break down, kind of the overall numbers. We're finally getting like the good accurate data, because some agents just don't put it into like the week after. So we're looking back last month, right, which is May. So looking at May, sales are up 80.4%. Now, that's not the real number, because if you remember last year, 12 months ago, we were just coming out of the lockdown in South Carolina. So in essence, there weren't necessarily a lot of closings, or the future closings, aka pending deals that were going under contract in the months prior. So for example, into the April was kind of locked down. So that affected last May's sales, if that makes any sense. The lowest month of the year last year was May, with only 372 home sales. So that's just kind of an interesting thing to look at there. But here's a point. There's 671 home sales last month, which is great. Now, here's an interesting point, though. If you looked at and compare that to March and April, it's down significantly, pretty drastic, really. So check this out. March of this year, 766 home sales. April this year, 770. And then last May, 100 less home sales, only 671 home sales. And so we saw that drop significantly. Now, why is that? Well, there's less inventory, so there's a little bit more competition, but we are seeing some buyer fatigue, which is interesting to look at. So some buyers who were wanting to buy, we had tons of people, fixed incomes, retirees, looking to come down here. They didn't come down last year during lockdown. They've been watching. Well, all of a sudden, what happened was they're priced out of the market. They literally can't buy. And so a lot of those moved to condos, and then some of them just kind of gave up overall. So it's interesting to see what's happening. I do think we're coming into our seasonal market, which is great. But we are seeing a lot of that happen, where some people are either getting priced out, or they're just getting a little bit frustrated. But the one thing driving that, obviously, is inventory. I'll talk about that in a second. The good news, though, median price up 27.8% from the same time last year, which is awesome. So it's right at $290,000, which is great. A 27.8% increase from last year, which means a lot of people have 27% more equity, which is crazy to look at. But here's the other piece. This is part of that trifecta I was talking about. April 2021, the month prior, obviously, the price was $299,350. Into May, only $290,000. So we saw a decline of about $9,000 per median price there, which is one of those three things that declined. So we'll talk about that as well. The great news, average price is up still significantly, a new record for the area here, which is awesome. $388,634 is the average sale price in Myrtle Beach. I almost couldn't imagine that years ago. I was kind of joking. I always got made fun of at all real estate conferences, because like all the people there would have like $1 million average sale price. And I was in, Myrtle Beach, the Redneck Riviera, they call it, which is, $150,000, $200,000 average sale price. Man, we're up to the big leagues at 388 now, which is great for us, which means a lot of homeowners have a lot more equity. If you look back just to January of 2019, it was average sale price $253,000, and right now it's all the way up $388,000. It's a big jump. So what we're finding is a lot of homeowners have a heck of a lot more equity than they even know they do, and so that's why it's super important to make sure you protect that right now. which is awesome. Months of inventory, new record low. We're down 1.0 months of inventory. Last week's show, we were at 0.9 months of inventory, which is just insanity, right? Anything less than 6 months is a seller's market. A balanced market is 6 months. And so think about how low that is, an all-time low here. And what we've seen, and really just in January 2020, there was 4.4 months. And so now it's all the way down to 1. And so that's a hypothetical equation that, to gauge how many homes are in the market and what it means at the current run rate. If not a single house is listed, how long would it take to run all those out? And it would be 1 month on the dot. And so that's why we're into a super seller's market, meaning it's an all-time low here. There's a lot more buyers than sellers. And so anyone out there thinking about selling, you want to take advantage of that. The third piece of that puzzle that I was talking about, the trifecta we saw decline, which obviously, I'm hypersensitive to numbers just because I'm watching to try to make sure we make decisions for our clients and help them. Buyer traffic, which is showings per listing, right? That means how many buyers are looking right now, what's going on. And it's an 87% increase from last year, obviously, because guess what? People were scared, locked up in their house, and weren't even going to the grocery store. But right now, last month, 10.7 showings per listing. This is the entire MLS. But if you look at the month prior, it was 11.2. And so buyer traffic's down, which is interesting to watch, right? Median sale price down a little bit, and closed sales is down. That's that trifecta that we're looking at here, just to kind of watch and see what's happening. Again, I don't think that's a major, huge thing, but anybody thinking about selling, you may want to time that to the seasonality here in Myrtle Beach when everyone's coming in town. My team's been running like crazy. We've had people we've been talking to for months and months and months who are finally coming in town. They're combining their vacation with their home search. I just noticed that for years and years. Number one, it's an excuse to get away and go to Myrtle Beach, right? And number two, they just like to combine that and look. And so that's what you're going to see a lot of in that aspect, which is interesting for sure. In the condos were just absolutely crushing it as well, which is great to see. And again, that's just because so many people are moving from single families to condos, which we'll talk about. So condo sales last month, it shows 171% increase from the same month last year. Again, that's very skewed because those months and during the lockdown, we literally couldn't go into those hotels. So like the big condo hotels in the ocean, that was counting that. So literally you couldn't get past the front desk. And so that's why those numbers are skewed. Last month, though, 822 condo sales, which is great news. It's the same exact number, ironically, as April. So in April, there's 822 condos sold. May, 822 condos sold. And in March, there's 808. So we're holding steady there in condos, which is great. And what's happening, like I mentioned, a lot of people are moving from homes into condos, which is, pretty typical to see because it's more affordable in that aspect. Right now, for the median price in condos, up 23.4% from last year, which is awesome. $164,000 even. The average sale price also up 28.8%, which is great at $198,131. It's down slightly from April, which was $199,355, only down $1,000, which is interesting to see there. And the one thing there too, buyer traffic. Buyer traffic was down last month in condos, down from 8.1 down to 7.5. And so we're seeing a little bit there. Again, it has to do with some people just getting, holding off, getting a little frustrated, getting priced out. But make sure if you're a home seller thinking about it, you want to tee it up and time it when it's right. We're a very seasonal area here, as anyone knows, right? You see the traffic on the roads right now. You see everything going on. If you want to know more, reach out to us. A lot of people want to cash out, invest in properties, things like that. If you want to know more, reach out to us, get a human valuation. Again, anything you see online right now is not necessarily fully accurate. Why is that? Because it's based on data that's behind you, right? It already happened. And so the market's moving so quickly right now. The last thing you want to do is base decisions on that. So a lot of times what we're seeing is it says XYZ online. I look at the micro data, the micro market data of the zip code neighborhood, and we'll push it a little higher and we'll still get it, which is awesome. So one thing still driving that, interest rates, they're still very, very good, which is ironic because there's been some talk this week about inflation and challenge there. And obviously an enemy of interest rates is inflation. So right now, 3.08%. So a lot of people are jumping off that fence, is back down, which is awesome. Last week's show was 3.13%. A 15-year fixed rate right now, 2.49%. An FHA loan, 30-year, 2.63%. A jumbo loan, 3.13%. And a 5-year adjust rate mortgage, 2.25%, which is awesome. So market's still super hot. One last number here is, remember weekly we tracked how many properties are going to contract. And I was talking about that. We started doing that since the overall COVID lockdown. It was 600, then down to 300, then back to 800. And then the peak of this year is the high 800s. Right now, we're averaging 650 homes a week under contract. So it's leveling back off about 200 homes per week going under contract. So just be aware of that. When I see these numbers softening, is something concerns me a little bit. I don't foresee, a crash here locally in the near future, but be aware, right? Cash out when people are still on the sidelines, still pumping money in, they're still paying. As more people are opening it up, back to normal life up north, there's less pain, less likely for them to come down here. So cash in on that. If you want to know more, reach out, call me today, 843-808-SOLD.
All right, we still got a lot of show to get to here in just a minute. Coming up in a second, we have your hot buyers alert to let you know how many people are right here looking for your home all around the country. And also, we'll find out what's going on as far as some of the great success stories. Hopefully more success stories than horror stories. That's all coming up in just 1 second. Get in touch with Blake and be a success story. Call at Sloan Realty Group, 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD. Or go online to BlakeSloan.com, BlakeSloan.com. Hey, Myrtle Beach, it's Gary LeBron.
We're looking like 6, 7 minutes, 8 minutes.
When I'm Moving On won the award for ACM Song of the Year, it struck a chord.
About 7 minutes.
Cool. Perfect. Thank you.
That come with life's big changes. For many, that happens when it comes time to sell their home. If you're moving on, you want a real estate agent who will make selling your home easy and stress-free. An agent who's willing to let you out of the contract if you're not happy with their service. That's why in Myrtle Beach, I can tell you that Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group markets your home on a whole different level. Now listen, Blake is so confident in his ability to sell your home quickly and for more money that he guarantees to sell it or he'll buy it himself. If you're moving on, trust Blake to provide your family a stress-free home sale experience. Find Blake Sloan online at blakesloan.com or you can call him at 843-808-SOLD.
It's the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Time right now for your hot buyers alert. Blake and his team working with just a ridiculous amount of home buyers, and everybody is looking for homes in the Myrtle Beach area. Anywhere from the range of $150,000 to $3.5 million. If you're in that range, and even thinking of selling, it is a seller's market right now. So please contact immediately. It's Blake Sloan's office at Sloan Realty Group, 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD. Latest number of people who are on, 61,934. Those are real people with accounts looking for homes in the Myrtle Beach area, not just looking once a month, once a week. They're probably looking every hour because they want to be first in line.
Insane, right? They're stalking it daytime, nighttime. Everything I mentioned is like 300. The high 300s is the amount of homes for sale in all of Horry County right now. And you guys see these are 61,934 actual people that I have just on our site with a username, a password, and an account. These aren't hits. These are actual people from all across the globe that are searching, so you can see my problem. So the reality is there's a lot of stuff moving. And in those numbers last week, there's some high-end stuff moving too. There's 4 properties went under contract in the last 7 days over $2 million. 6 of those 1.8 or larger under contract in the last 7 days. And so that's just something anyone out there thinking about selling. We have buyers from all over the globe right now. I got Mike Payne from Lancaster, South Carolina. I got Patricia from Charlotte. I got Lori from Bristol, Connecticut. I even got Sherry and Jim from San Jose, California. I got Fred from Merrimack, New Hampshire. Lori from Nashville, Tennessee. She must have seen that direct flight from Southwest now. She's hitting that up. But I got Johnson City, Tennessee on here too. Rosemary. The overall part, like for example, we got Rosemary, 97 visits on our site. She looked at 300 properties, and all the time she's been on the site in the last 2 months. Right now, she currently has 9 favorites. And so the reality is we need inventory. We talked about the big thing that we do is we're able to drive massive traffic. What makes Blake different? What makes, I get that question all the time. Hey, look, what makes you different than these other realtors who are like, cold calling me or anything like that? First of all, if they're cold calling you, they don't spend any money on marketing, period. If they did, they wouldn't have to cold call you. Okay. That's the number one law. And that's kind of like my PSA for this show. If they're cold calling you, don't do business with them, right? Because they don't have any time to find any buyers because they're just trying to cold call you to list your house, put it in MLS, and take half the commission. And so the reality is we need those buyers because my business model allows us to outspend the average agent 100 to 1. Okay, because I have 20 plus buyer agents on our team that we're feeding. So before you ever pick up that telephone to call me, I've got buyers from across the globe that are looking and interested in your house. Now, I had this huge problem because we had 61,000 buyers, right? Back then, I think it was like 50,000 plus buyers, but we created an algorithm that takes any new listing, AKA your house, and reverse engineers the most likely buyer for that property based on our previous search patterns. And so anytime we get a new listing, we go in their system here and we click the button and it scores them highest to lowest and it matches them on a percentage match. And so you'll have a 98% match, 97% match, and it shows who they are. And then what we do is we reach out to them, we one click a button, and I can call all of them in a row, back to back to back, and match them up with your house. And so that's what we do. And that's how we sell properties faster and for more money. I tell this story a lot because it's very important, is that, you know, you can take a classic Corvette, put it in the Walmart parking lot and get it sold, right? No question about that. But if you take the same classic Corvette and put it every Corvette enthusiast website, every Corvette enthusiast magazine, guess what I do? I put more eyeballs on it. I put more interest on it. It drives the price up and you sell more because the buyer is more interested and specific in that type of car. It's the same exact thing that we do with your house. The problem is most agents, they're taking your house and put it in the Walmart parking lot, period. Right? That's called the MLS, and that's all they do. And so don't allow your nice classic Corvette to be stuck in the Walmart parking lot and have somebody come and pick up and buy it. And that's what we do here. We drive massive amounts of traffic, spend tens of thousands of dollars every month driving traffic online. And what happens is they're able to come in, our team matches them up. We have buyers and sellers that we're matching up all the time, the very minute that we're able to do so. And we're seeing that a lot. And there's two things right now. Well, I would say we're seeing two camps. One camp is like, hey, I don't want to list my house. I just want some investor to come buy it out. The problem with that is these investors are offering you 50, 60 cents in the dollar. Right. Don't give away your hard-earned equity. And so we see this happen a lot. We just had a lady this past week. She wanted $140,000 for the house. She didn't want to list it. She just wanted an investor. We said, why? She said, I want people coming through our house. We said, what if I can list it, match up with our buyers, have it sold in 1 or 2 days? And by the way, we can get you $160,000 plus for your house. Is that okay? She didn't really believe us. We did it. Ren on my team did it, locked it up in 1 day under contract, put $20,000 more in our pocket. And the thing is, you don't have to, there's multiple strategies we have. I have an investment fund. We can buy it out instantly if you need to, or we can go the full retail market, which is where we market to the entire market. That's where you add a lot more buyers, because here's the thing. An owner occupant is going to pay more money than an investor anytime. Why is that? Because the investor needs meat on the bone. An owner occupant is going to pay for that because they want to live there with their family, and they want to make it a home, not just a house, right? So reach out to us. We have 60,000 plus 61,934. Here's the deal. If I was a single agent spending tens of thousands of dollars a month with $61,000 or 61,000 buyers, I'd be out of business. But with my business model, my team model, we have all these buyers that have already paid for, that are ready and looking for your house. Reach out and call us because you have a huge advantage. So we got 1 minute left. So really quick, awesome success stories. I want to give out Mary and Bob owned a home in Myrtle Beach. They were looking to build in North Carolina. It was important to get top dollar, but also the closing date was super important because they had to obviously have somewhere to live. And thankfully heard about us on this radio station. We came in, did a custom marketing plan, global marketing blitz, professional photos. Within 2 days, we have 4 offers on the property, got the exact closing date they want, and $20,000 above asking price, which is super cool. I told a story last week. Barrett on my team listed a house on Thursday. In 4 hours, we had 4 offers, all of which had not even seen the house before, never been inside of it. $30,100 over asking price due to that marketing. So get yourself that equity, because that $30,000 can get you your kids through college with that money right there.
That's just awesome stuff. Find out how you can be involved with that, and it's real easy to do. Call Blake at Sloan Realty Group here today. 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD. You can also go and learn more yourself online by going to blakesloan.com, blakesloan.com. Blake, great stuff. We'll see you again next week.
Yes, sir. I'll be here.
Obviously, we will. We'll talk to you again next week. It's the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Selling your home